I'm going to hold your hand when I say this because it's a hard truth to hear, but Christianity
I got a wife, Shotty.
is a colonizer, patriarchal, white supremacist religion, and we are never going to progress to an equitable society as long as we are clinging on to the archaic beliefs of Christianity.
She's coming out hot. She's coming out hot. Let's watch the whole thing. She says a lot in this video, so we'll let her go. We'll talk about it after.
Prevents progress on both a societal level and a personal level. The whole structure of Christianity, the
society and personal. Okay. I said we'll let it go.
Hierarchy of power, the fact that there's this being that is superior to all else that must be worshipped and obeyed, will never allow us to see each other as equals.
Must be worshipped and obeyed. Must. Okay, all right, we'll get to that later. I said we'll get to it later. Okay.
Depending on who you are, there will always be someone who's superior to you or inferior to you. And the fact that Christianity centers men, it'll always be men who are in power and better than everyone else. Christianity also discourages critical thinking and asking questions and curiosity. Christianity also enables us to fill knowledge gaps using God and religion instead of seeking the truth and filling those gaps based on science and reality. Not to mention, what motivation do people have to improve their conditions here on earth when they know they're going to go to heaven when they die?
All right, she said a lot there, but I think the things that stuck out to me were three main things. I think one, when she says, as long as Christianity's around, we'll never be able to, like, there'll always be a form of looking down on people and looking up on people, and they'll always be established. But I have to say out the gate, I think that's the biggest, lie in this video about what Christianity is about. In Philippians, Paul gets straight into it. We will share this. In Philippians 2:3-4, do not be selfish. Don't try to impress others. Be humble, thinking of others as better than yourself. I wonder if she read this before she made that claim. It's very, where is she drawing that from? Anyways, right? Don't look out only for your own interests, but take an interest in others too. Here's another one, right? That I think she's alluding to colonialism. So first I have to say, there's a bit of truth in this, right? Where there were Christians, I put heavy air quotes on there, let's say in the slave trade, right? You cannot deny that there was bad Christians. They were not Christ-like. They, in the slave Bible, took out 90% of the Old Testament, cut the New Testament in half, and then that's what they gave to the slaves. But it's funny what the Bible actually preaches, because they had to give those slaves a warped Bible, a altered Bible, to be able to protect their view and their belief in slavery. I think that says a lot already of what the Bible actually says. In the Old Testament, there's one of the biggest and main stories is God's taking the Israelites out of slavery in Egypt into freedom in the Promised Land. That's like one of the biggest stories. That's like the Torah. There's a buildup to that. The Promised Land is crazy. And then in Galatians 3:28, Paul says, there's no longer Jew or Gentile, slave or free, male or female, for you are all one in Christ Jesus. Like, girl, did you read any of this before you went hard? And she obviously has a very condescending tone, I'll say. Maybe it's her logic. I don't know. I wonder where her logic comes from. And another one, Paul says, in this new life, it doesn't matter if you are a Jew or Gentile, circumcised or uncircumcised, barbaric, uncivilized, slave or free. Christ is all that matters, and he lives in all of us. This is the one where I go back to Philippians right here where it says, be humble, thinking of others better than yourself. And this is literally, this is supposed to be taken literally. An order is an order, Captain. That's how we're supposed to look at this. And then I think of some of the last claims in the video. This is the one where it's centered on men, and there is huge figures in the Bible like Ruth, Esther, and then I think Miriam. Here's the one that I think about with Jesus is the first person to witness the resurrection, which is the pinnacle of the Bible, the peak that the grave is empty, is Mary. The honor of finding the tomb is empty belongs to Mary. So I look at all these claims and it's just hard for me to be like, there's nothing in here that really makes sense. I think, if she's thinking of Christians, right? If she's saying but Christianity is built on this, it's Christians who weren't Christ-like. Because if we read this and read the Bible literally, that if we take Philippians chapter 2, verses 3-4, literally, be humble, thinking of yourselves as better, or thinking of others as better than yourselves. Do not look out for your own interest, but take an interest in others too. And let's pull up this full chapter, because this is what is very interesting to me. If we go down a little further about what Jesus did for us, he humbled himself in obedience to God and died a criminal's death on the cross. This can also be read as he humbled himself to the point of death. And us as Christians, which means we are Christ followers, are supposed to emulate this by being humble to the point of death, to look at others better than ourselves. And it might not always be a literal death, but sometimes it does. It can be a figurative death, and we're supposed to do this daily and read this literally. So anyways, that's what I thought about the video. Comment, tell me what y'all think on the bottom. Till next time, y'all.